How's it going, friends? Reckless Yuki here. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. And in this video, I'd like to do an accessories guide for this little guy here. And if you're watching this video, you more than likely know what this is, but in case you don't, this is called the XIM4. And what this is it allows you to use the mouse and keyboard for your consoles, whether it be the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, Xbox One, or Xbox 360. It's a really nifty device, and if you're looking for a mouse and keyboard adapter, this is the one I highly recommend above all else. And when it comes to this, there are certain peripherals that I think work best with it, and that's what I want to go over in this guide. And just a little fun tidbit of information, the XIM, what it stands for is Xbox Input Machine, and that was way back when, before the XIM4, XIM Edge, XIM 3, XIM 2, back when it was just the XIM. It was made for the Xbox 360, and it stuck like that until the XIM Edge. So all the way up until the XIM 3, it was just supported with the 360. And then in order for it to work with the, I guess the PlayStation 3, you needed a controller adapter basically to have an Xbox 360 controller talk to PlayStation 3 to use one of these with the PlayStation 3. But since the XIM Edge, this has all changed. They started doing actual native PlayStation support, and now we have the XIM4, which is supported for all 4 consoles. And I just think this is an amazing buy, absolutely the best adapter when it comes to mouse and keyboard gaming on the consoles. But I digress, and let's just kind of focus on the guides or the peripherals I'll recommend when using this. Now, the most important thing you should look at when using this is your mouse. The mouse is the most important thing above all else, and what you're basically wanting to look for is you want to look for an optical mouse with a really high DPI. The higher the DPI, the better, because basically you want to make sure that your in-game settings are set all the way to max, your mouse is set to the max DPI, and that will allow you to lower the sensitivity of the device itself through the manager, and that will give you a better accuracy. It'll basically ensure that you're not going to skip pixels on the screen, which is something that you really don't want to do. So the higher the mouse DPI, the better, because then you could lower this. And it's usually better to try to get this down to 10 if possible, but definitely under 50 is where you want to be at, under 50, because when you get over 50 on this, that's when you kind of start to notice some pixel skipping. That's something that you definitely don't want with a first-person shooter. So the mouse that I use, that I recommend, that I highly recommend for this above all else, is the Logitech G502, mainly because it's an awesome optical sensor for PC gaming, and also it will allow you to go all the way up to 12,000 DPI. Not 1200, but 12,000, and that is insane. So that is by far the best mouse, in my opinion, when using the XIM4, and that's the thing I would recommend. And oh, by the way, all the links to all the products will be in the description below with Amazon affiliate links, because they will help me out, especially when I'm making this guide for you, so you can buy the stuff there and support my channel without any cost to you. I think it's pretty awesome. But anyways, the Logitech G502, the best mouse. Now, when it comes to the keyboard, I would say that it's really up to you guys. Just make sure you go to the website and look at their hardware compatibility list to make sure that the keyboard that you're thinking of getting will work for this. Now, you don't necessarily need a mechanical keyboard, you don't need a membrane, you don't need anything specific, but the things that I personally used for this for the longest time was the G13. The Logitech G13 is basically like a hand keyboard thing with an analog joystick, unlike the Razer whatever Orbis, whatever it's called. That was just an 8-directional D-pad basically with a thumb on it, where the G13 is an actual analog stick that you can control with your hand, and then you can map the actual finger buttons to whatever you want. That was really cool for this when it came to console gaming specifically. Now, when it came to me gaming on the PC and this at the same time, I switched up to just using the keyboard, and the keyboard that I use is an old Corsair K70, and it's the non-RGB one. It's just a regular one, and it's a fantastic keyboard, has a Cherry MX switches. It's a great keyboard, and it's the one that I use, but it's not necessarily the one you use. Just use whatever you want or whatever you have laying around that's on that compatibility list. The keyboard isn't really gonna make or break your gaming. It's not as important as the mouse. Now, when it comes to, let's say you have a setup or a desk where you have a PC, you have your consoles like me, and you have limited desk space where you don't want to have like 2 sets of keyboards, 2 sets of mice, you don't want to constantly unplug and replug into this device and onto your PC to change things, there is a product called a KVM Switch. Basically, you plug your mouse, keyboard, monitor into this device, and with a switch of a button, you're able to switch which it controls, whether it switches and looks at your PC or then switches and looks at your console. And that is something that is really cool. And the one that I use is called the Aten Gaming KVM Switch. There's a longer name that I can't remember what it is, but it'll be in the links in the description below. Started messing up my speech. Need to get a water break. Just a second. So when it comes to KVM switches, you don't want to cheap out on them completely. You want to spend some decent money to get a quality one that'll be able to utilize your gaming and multimedia peripherals, especially with the keyboard and the mouse, because if you are using it to game and you also have it hooked up to your PC, you might need to have something a little bit nicer to make sure you maintain the functionality of your devices. So that's why I chose this one, because it was the cheapest one I could find that did support gaming and multimedia peripherals. And even though it is expensive, if this is something that you want to do and have a setup like mine, it's something that you're going to have to get, and I would highly recommend this one because I've had it for over a year, no issues whatsoever. And next up, if you use this device with the PlayStation 4 and you use the bottom port of the controller for your chat functionality, you're not going to be able to use that anymore, because when it's hooked up to this, you're not able to use the PlayStation 4 chat functionality. Now, when you use it with the Xbox One, you can still use the bottom port adapter, or if you have the newer controller, you can use the bottom port, but with the PlayStation 4, you can't, and you're going to have to invest into a USB dongle. So I basically have two to share with you guys. Both of these works. I verified them. I have them right here. This one's called an iLuv. Basically, it's just a USB to a headphone microphone adapter. And this one is from Creative, called the Creative Play 2. And this has basically a single port that could support an actual headset, but if you don't have a headset and you just want to support a microphone, then basically you just plug in this adapter that came with it. And this kind of fits both black and white aesthetics, depending on your setup and what you want. You could kind of maintain your theme. So I'm sharing both of these guys with you. Links will be in the description once again. And finally, when it comes to controlling this, it used to be that this would only work with Android devices and your PC if your PC was Bluetooth enabled. But now this has iPhone support or iOS support, which is something really cool. And the XIM team definitely spends a lot of time in making sure that this product works perfectly. They spend a lot of time in updating to the newest games within the first few days of game release. They have a profile specifically for this for you to use. So they do a lot of good work. So now when it comes to a device to control this, you're not limited. Basically, you can use whatever you have, whether it be iOS, Android, or your PC. It's pretty much up to you as long as everything is Bluetooth enabled, because this will talk to your devices via Bluetooth. So that's basically it for my guide. As far as the peripherals, I would recommend to you guys, if you have one of these, or if you're looking at getting one of these, but yet you don't know what devices you should look at. So I definitely showed you guys the mouse, the keyboard, what you need to maintain chat with the PlayStation 4. And then when it comes to a KVM, if you want to control multiple things with the mouse and keyboards that you already have, then that would be another route you could go without having to do that daunting task of unplugging, replugging things, if that's something that annoys you. But anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys. And like I said again, all the links to everything will be in the description of the video. And I will talk to you guys again in the next one, all right? Bye-bye.